Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sleep Space. Tonight, we will talk about something deeply profound and poetic, the truth that the atoms that once made you, and still make you, were forged in stars and will one day return to the universe. Your body is composed of atoms that were born in ancient stellar explosions, scattered across galaxies, and eventually found their way into you. And when your body returns to the Earth, those atoms will scatter again, finding new forms and purposes throughout the cosmos. It's a story of transformation, continuity, and cosmic belonging. Before we begin, let me ask you, where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it for you right now? Let's dive in. To understand how the atoms in your body are connected to the stars, we need to begin with the formation of the universe itself. About 13.8 billion years ago, the universe began with the Big Bang. Not an explosion in space, but an expansion of space itself. In the earliest moments, the universe was incredibly hot, dense, and full of energy. As it expanded and cooled, subatomic particles began to form: quarks, gluons, electrons. Within just the first few minutes, the simplest atomic nuclei appeared, mostly hydrogen and helium, along with tiny traces of lithium. But these elements alone couldn't build the complex structures needed for life. The universe spent hundreds of millions of years in this relatively simple state, a dark, cool, and quiet place filled with clouds of hydrogen and helium. But gravity was at work, pulling these gas clouds together. Over time, they grew denser and hotter until they ignited. The first stars were born, and inside their fiery cores, something incredible happened. Under extreme temperatures and pressures, hydrogen atoms fused into helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy. This process, called nuclear fusion, is what makes stars shine. But as stars aged and consumed their hydrogen, they began to fuse helium into heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, the very elements we need for life. In the most massive stars, this process continued even further. Elements like silicon, magnesium, and iron formed in their cores. But iron is special. It doesn't produce energy when fused, so once a massive star's core fills with iron, it can no longer sustain itself. Gravity takes over. The core collapses, and the star explodes in a dramatic supernova. In that explosion, heavier elements, gold, uranium, lead, are created and blasted out into space. These elements scatter across galaxies, eventually becoming part of gas clouds that form new stars, planets, and, in time, life. You are, quite literally, made of stardust. Every atom of carbon in your muscles, every bit of calcium in your bones, every trace of iron in your blood. It all came from stars that lived and died long before our solar system even existed. The elements that make you have passed through many cosmic hands. They've been inside supernovae, travelled vast interstellar distances, drifted in molecular clouds, and finally settled into the formation of our solar system about 4.6 billion years ago. Let's pause here to think about that. The Earth itself was formed from the remnants of ancient stars. When the sun and planets coalesced from a spinning disk of gas and dust, all the ingredients necessary for life were already present. Earth inherited water, carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus, all essential to biology, from that interstellar cloud. These were not new elements. They were recycled materials, the same atoms that had once burned in stars, broken apart in space, and reassembled in a new form. Life on Earth began in the oceans, where simple molecules assembled into complex structures capable of self-replication. Over time, those primitive life forms evolved, giving rise to plants, animals, and eventually us. But the atoms themselves didn't change. The carbon in your DNA, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your hemoglobin, those atoms are billions of years old. They were here long before you were born, and they will be here long after you're gone. You are a temporary expression of an ancient and eternal process. Think about your body. It contains about 37 trillion cells, each one made of countless molecules, and each of those molecules is made of atoms that have lived many lives. The calcium in your teeth may once have been in a meteorite. The nitrogen in your DNA may have drifted through interstellar space for eons. You are a walking archive of cosmic history. Everything you are is recycled, not just from Earth, but from the stars. Even now, this recycling continues. You inhale air that contains atoms once breathed by dinosaurs. You drink water that may have passed through volcanic steam vents millions of years ago. The atoms in your body are borrowed. They are on loan from the universe. And one day, you'll give them back. When your body decomposes, its elements return to the earth, to the soil, the air, the water. Plants may take them up. Animals may eat those plants. Rain may wash them into rivers. Over time, your atoms disperse, becoming part of other living beings, part of the weather, part of the planet. Eventually, perhaps, they may leave Earth entirely, carried by winds or meteorites or even space missions, drifting once more among the stars. This idea, that you are not just from the stars but will one day return to them, is one of the most humbling and comforting truths in science. Death is not an end, but a transformation. It is not disappearance, but redistribution. You become something else, not metaphorically, literally. The atoms that were you become leaves, soil, clouds, animals, oceans. You dissolve into everything. And this process isn't unique to humans. All life follows this pattern. Trees are born, grow, die, and rot. Their atoms return to the ground, feeding fungi and insects. Animals eat them, die themselves, and feed others. Even mountains erode, their minerals washed into rivers and deposited elsewhere. Everything is in motion. Everything is transforming. Nothing is truly lost. This is the great cycle of matter. It's important to realize that this cosmic recycling is not random. There is order in this chaos, physical laws that govern how atoms move, bind, and change. These laws have remained consistent since the beginning of time. Gravity still pulls. Electromagnetism still binds electrons to nuclei. The strong force still holds protons together in atomic cores. The same forces that shaped the early universe shape your body today. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are an extension of it, an expression of its current form. Let's zoom in even further. Take a single atom, say a carbon atom in your chest. It's made of a tiny nucleus surrounded by a cloud of electrons. That nucleus contains protons and neutrons, which are themselves made of quarks. These subatomic particles have existed since the very first seconds of the universe. They've changed configurations countless times, passed through stars, planets, and perhaps even other living beings. Now they're in you, but not forever. Eventually, they'll move on, taking new forms, continuing their journey through the cosmos. So when you feel small or insignificant, remember this. You are made of ancient, immortal matter. The universe has shaped you over billions of years. You are not just in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself in human form. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences are the latest chapter in a story that began with the birth of time. This understanding has emotional power. It can bring peace to those struggling with loss or change. When someone you love passes, their atoms do not vanish. They return to the world, to the trees, the sky, the wind. They become part of everything. They are not gone, they are changed. This isn't just poetic comfort, it's scientific truth. In many ways, this perspective collapses the boundary between life and death. It reframes existence not as a fixed identity, but as a process of continuous transformation. You are a phase, a pattern, a structure temporarily holding matter in a particular form. And even when that form dissolves, the matter persists, finding new arrangements, new roles, new stories. Even your thoughts, the electrical impulses in your brain, rely on the movement of charged particles, atoms like sodium and potassium. Your consciousness is supported by chemistry, which is shaped by physics, which was born in stars. Your very ability to reflect on your place in the universe is itself a product of the universe's long evolution. The cosmos created conditions that allowed it to become self-aware through you. This is the story we will continue to unfold tonight. As we journey through space and time, we'll explore how atoms move, combine, and become living systems. We'll uncover how galaxies enrich themselves through supernovae, how planetary systems inherit the debris of ancient stars, and how every part of you is an echo of something unimaginably vast and old. You are not just living in the universe, you are woven from it, and eventually you will return to it, scattered once again among the stars. To continue understanding your connection to the stars, we need to explore in more detail the life and death of stars themselves, the engines of element creation. Stars are not just points of light in the night sky. They are nuclear factories, constantly fusing atoms together and creating new elements. Every moment, trillions of stars across the universe are working to transmute simple matter into complex building blocks, a process that determines the very chemistry of existence. A star begins its life in a nebula, a cloud of gas and dust in interstellar space. Gravity slowly pulls particles in the cloud together, forming a dense core. As this protostar accumulates mass, the pressure and temperature in its center increase. When the core becomes hot enough, nuclear fusion begins. Hydrogen atoms start to fuse into helium, releasing energy. This energy creates an outward pressure that balances the inward pull of gravity, allowing the star to achieve stability. This fusion process can continue for millions to billions of years, depending on the mass of the star. In low-mass stars like our Sun, hydrogen fusion lasts billions of years. But in more massive stars, the process is much faster and more complex. Once a star exhausts its hydrogen fuel, it begins to fuse helium into heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, neon, and so on, working its way up the periodic table. These heavier elements are created through a process known as nucleosynthesis. It's not just heat and pressure, it's a cosmic dance of fundamental forces. The strong nuclear force binds protons and neutrons inside atomic nuclei, while gravity provides the energy needed to initiate the reactions. And once the core runs out of fuel that can be fused for energy, gravity begins to win. In stars like our Sun, this leads to a gentle death. The outer layers are shed into space, forming a planetary nebula, while the core contracts into a white dwarf. But for massive stars, those at least 8 times the mass of the Sun, death comes violently. Once they reach iron in their cores, fusion can no longer produce energy. Iron is a kind of dead end. At this point, the star collapses. In a fraction of a second, the core implodes, triggering a supernova explosion that releases more energy in a few days than our Sun will emit in its entire lifetime. During the brief moment of that explosion, an incredible thing happens. The conditions become so extreme, so hot and so energetic, that new elements are forged in an instant. Gold, silver, uranium, lead, and many others are formed in these final bursts of stellar life, and they're scattered across the galaxy at speeds of millions of miles per hour. This is how the universe enriches itself. Stars live, create, and die, seeding the cosmos with the ingredients for new worlds and new forms of life. Every atom in your body, heavier than hydrogen, and that's most of them, came from one of these processes. The oxygen in your lungs, the calcium in your teeth, the phosphorus in your DNA, all of it passed through the heart of a star. And the cycle doesn't stop there. These scattered elements don't just float forever. Over time, gravity gathers them again into clouds, forming new generations of stars and planets. Each generation contains more complex material than the last. You are the result of many generations. The Sun is a second or third generation star, meaning it was born from the remains of previous stellar deaths. That's why the solar system contains so many elements. Not just hydrogen and helium, but carbon, nitrogen, iron, and even gold. When the Earth formed about 4.6 billion years ago, it inherited this cosmic legacy. The planet itself is made of star stuff, and so is everything on it. The oceans, the mountains, the atmosphere, all composed of elements forged in ancient stars. Life began with the chemistry of those elements. Carbon formed the backbone of organic molecules. Phosphorus enabled the transfer of energy in cells. Iron transported oxygen in blood. Calcium built bones. All of it was already here, waiting. Now imagine that. You are not just descended from life on Earth, you are chemically descended from stars. And every time you take a breath, you inhale atoms that have passed through countless forms. Some of the oxygen you just took in may have once been in a tree, or in a volcano, or in a comet. Perhaps it travelled for millions of years before finding its way to your lungs tonight. This movement of atoms is relentless. It's invisible to the eye, but constant. Atoms are always being absorbed, broken down, and reused. The cells in your body are constantly regenerating. Skin cells die and flake off, replaced by new ones. The lining of your stomach is renewed every few days. Even the atoms in your bones are gradually replaced over time. In fact, most of the atoms in your body today were not there 10 years ago. You are a dynamic structure, not a static object. You are constantly rebuilding yourself, atom by atom, using matter drawn from the world around you. And yet, despite this turnover, your sense of self persists. Your consciousness, your memories, your identity, all of it continues while the physical matter that supports it shifts beneath you. That's a remarkable truth. The atoms change, but the pattern remains. You are not just made of atoms, you are made of arrangements, of relationships, of movement. Life is structure, not substance. And that structure, while temporary, is extraordinary. Let's zoom out again. The Milky Way galaxy is home to about 100 billion stars, and it's just one of trillions of galaxies in the observable universe. Each of these galaxies contains stars at every stage of life, forming, shining, dying. Each is engaged in the great cycle of element creation and dispersal. Somewhere, right now, a star is exploding, releasing atoms that will one day become part of a planet, part of a tree, part of a life. Somewhere, atoms that were once in someone else are being drawn into a new being. The process never ends. This continuity connects you not only to the past, but also to the future. The atoms in your body will persist long after you're gone. They will scatter into the environment and become part of something else. That something else could be soil, or stone, or smoke. It could be part of another person, another creature, or even another world. Your atoms might one day be on a comet, a spacecraft, or a distant planet. They might orbit another star, or they might become part of a nebula, waiting to be drawn into the birth of a new star, beginning the process all over again. And none of this is theoretical. It's supported by decades of observation, modeling, and measurement. We can see the chemical fingerprints of elements in distant stars. We can detect the light emitted by supernovae as they forge new matter. We can track isotopes in meteorites that match the composition of stars that exploded billions of years ago. The tools of astrophysics, chemistry, and biology all confirm the same story. The universe is in a state of constant chemical evolution, and you are part of that story. One particularly beautiful confirmation comes from spectroscopy, the study of how matter emits and absorbs light. When we observe light from stars, we see dark lines in the spectrum. These lines correspond to specific elements: hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen, iron, each leaving a unique signature. By analysing these lines, we can determine the composition of stars, nebulae, and galaxies, even across billions of light years. And what we find is that the same elements found in your body are also found in the most distant corners of the universe. There is no separation. The periodic table is universal. Even more astonishing, the ratios of elements are remarkably consistent. Most of the visible matter in the universe is hydrogen and helium, followed by oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, the same elements that dominate in you. This isn't coincidence. It's the direct result of cosmic history. It's proof that the same processes happen everywhere. The stars that made your atoms are not unique. They are part of a universal process of birth, transformation, and rebirth. And so when you look up at the night sky, you are not just seeing stars. You are seeing your origins. You are seeing the factories that built the very matter inside you. You are looking back in time, across billions of years, at the places where your story began. Light from some of those stars has travelled for thousands or even millions of years to reach you. That light is a message from the past, a record of the cosmic journey that led to your existence. You are not an observer of the universe. You are a participant. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are one of its outcomes. You are a phase of universal matter, a chapter in an endless story. And when your chapter ends, the matter continues, ready to take on a new form. The story of atoms is not just written in the stars or spread across galaxies. It's also written in you, in every heartbeat, every breath, every cell. As we zoom in from the vastness of space to the intricate workings of the human body, we find the same story of matter cycling, bonding, breaking, and becoming. To understand your connection to the cosmos, you don't need to look up. You can also look within. Start with something as simple as your breath. Every time you inhale, your lungs draw in air molecules that include oxygen, nitrogen, and trace gases like argon and carbon dioxide. Oxygen, in particular, is vital. It enters your bloodstream and travels to your cells, where it plays a crucial role in producing energy. But that oxygen didn't originate on Earth. It came from stars. It was created by fusion in stellar cores, scattered in supernova explosions, and eventually became part of the planet's atmosphere. The oxygen you breathe has traveled across time and space to sustain you in this moment. Inside your cells, oxygen helps break down glucose molecules, releasing energy in a process known as cellular respiration. This energy powers every process in your body, from movement to thought. But again, look deeper. Glucose is a sugar made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The carbon came from ancient stars. The hydrogen was formed during the Big Bang. Even the water in your body, H2O, is composed of hydrogen atoms from the beginning of the universe and oxygen atoms from stellar furnaces. You are built from the oldest materials in existence, yet you are constantly renewing yourself in real time. Every part of you is involved in this cosmic recycling. Your bones contain calcium and phosphorus, both of which are products of supernovae. Your muscles rely on sodium and potassium ions to transmit electrical signals. Your blood carries iron, an element created in the death throes of massive stars. Even your brain, the seat of your consciousness, depends on atoms with ancient cosmic origins. The molecules that support memory, thought, emotion, and creativity are all constructed from elements forged in stellar processes. Consider DNA, the molecule that carries your genetic code. It's composed of 4 types of bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, linked to a sugar phosphate backbone. Each of those molecules contains atoms of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. None of those atoms are native to you. They were formed in the hearts of stars, scattered into space, incorporated into Earth, and eventually drawn into your cells. Your DNA is a molecular structure built from interstellar remnants. It's a library of star matter, assembled into the instruction manual for your life. And it's not just your body that holds this cosmic narrative. Everything around you, the objects in your room, the food you eat, the water you drink, is made from atoms that were once elsewhere. The metal in your phone might contain atoms from asteroid impacts. The salt in your food comes from ancient seas formed during Earth's volatile early years. The wood of a tree is composed of carbon atoms absorbed from the atmosphere, carbon that once flowed through animals, volcanoes, and oceans. The air around you, the ground beneath you, even the dust on your windowsill, all of it shares the same origin story. All of it is cosmic in nature. This realization changes how we understand identity. We tend to think of ourselves as distinct individuals, separate from the world and from one another. But chemically, that distinction is blurry. The atoms in your body are not unique to you. They have been part of countless other forms. They've been recycled through plants, animals, oceans, and air. Some of the atoms in you were once in ancient forests. Some were in prehistoric creatures. Some may have been in other people. You are, in a very real way, a community of borrowed matter. This isn't spiritual metaphor, it's empirical reality. Atoms don't belong to anyone. They exist in a continuous cycle of transformation. When you eat, you take in atoms from the external world. When you exhale, you release carbon atoms that become part of the environment. When you shed skin cells, when you speak, when you walk, you interact with the world by exchanging matter. Every moment is a negotiation with your surroundings. You are never static. You are in constant flux. This interconnectedness becomes even more apparent when you consider that matter isn't just exchanged, it's shared. The air you breathe out becomes the air someone else breathes in. The molecules of water that pass through your body may soon pass through a tree or a cloud. Your body is not a closed system. It's open to the world. Your atoms mingle with those of others. They travel, interact, and form new bonds. In a literal sense, you are always becoming part of something else. And this doesn't end at death. When a body decays, its molecules return to the ecosystem. Bacteria break down tissues, nutrients enter the soil, plants absorb them. Animals eat the plants, the atoms move on. There's no permanent ownership. The matter simply changes hands. Your atoms will live many lives. They will continue their journey through time, inhabiting new forms, experiencing new arrangements. The self dissolves, but the material continues. You are a chapter, not the whole book. Even in the most stable parts of you, change is occurring. The atoms in your bones may last longer than those in your skin or blood, but they too are eventually replaced. Studies show that nearly 98% of the atoms in the human body are replaced every year. This constant turnover means that you are physically not the same person you were last year, or even last month. Yet your consciousness remains continuous. That persistence is not tied to specific atoms, but to the patterns and structures they form. You are a shifting arrangement of ancient matter, bound by the laws of chemistry and physics, animated by energy and shaped by experience. The energy that animates you also has a cosmic origin. Every calorie you consume, every joule of heat you generate, every electric signal your brain sends, all of it traces back to the sun. Plants capture solar energy through photosynthesis, storing it in chemical bonds. When you eat those plants, or animals that ate those plants, you absorb that energy. The sun's light becomes your heat, your motion, your thought. And the sun, in turn, was born from the collapse of a molecular cloud, enriched by the debris of ancient supernovae. So even your vitality, your spark, comes from the stars. Your senses, too, are cosmic tools. Your eyes detect photons, tiny packets of light, many of which were emitted by stars millions of years ago. When you gaze at the night sky, some of the starlight hitting your retina left its source before humans even existed. Your ears detect vibrations carried through air made of atoms formed in stellar cores. Your skin senses pressure, heat, and texture, all interactions between ancient matter. Everything you experience is part of the cosmic web. Your body is tuned to the universe, built to interact with it, shaped by its forces. Even time, which we often think of as linear and human-centered, is deeply woven into the atomic story. Radioactive elements like uranium and carbon-14 decay at predictable rates. By measuring those rates, scientists can determine the age of rocks, fossils, and archaeological artifacts. This process, known as radiometric dating, relies on the behavior of unstable atoms that were formed in stars and incorporated into the Earth. The ticking clock of radioactive decay is a reminder that atoms carry not just matter, but memory. They are the record keepers of the universe. Your own lifespan is a small segment of that cosmic timeline. You are here for a brief moment, a blink in the life of the universe. But in that moment, you are alive, thinking, feeling, observing. And your body is not some alien visitor to this universe. It is made of the universe. Your bones are made of exploded stars. Your thoughts are made of recycled atoms. Your existence is not separate from the cosmos. It is a product of it. And when your life ends, the story doesn't stop. Your atoms will persist. They may become part of new life, new landscapes, even new planets. Some may travel across the solar system. Others may remain here on Earth, buried in sediment or suspended in the atmosphere. Some may be inhaled by animals, absorbed by roots, or dissolved in oceans. You don't disappear, you disperse. You don't vanish, you transform. This is the heart of cosmic continuity. The atoms that were you are not destroyed. They are merely rearranged. Just as they once came together to form your body, they will come together again in other ways. The same carbon atom that helped form your heart may one day be part of a leaf. The same oxygen molecule that fed your brain may one day cool a cloud. The same iron ion that carried oxygen through your blood may one day rust on the surface of a stone. And even now, while you live, this exchange is happening. Your body is shedding atoms and taking in new ones every second. You are part of an unbroken cycle of creation, transformation, and rebirth. You are not a fixed thing, you are a flowing process. A process shaped by stars, sustained by energy, and guided by time. The story of your atoms doesn't begin with your body, or even with life itself. It begins with Earth, a young planet spinning in the heat and chaos of a newly formed solar system. And Earth, in turn, was formed from a disk of gas and dust that surrounded the infant sun. This swirling disk was rich with elements created by dying stars: oxygen, carbon, iron, silicon, sulfur, magnesium, and hundreds of trace elements, all scattered across space by violent stellar deaths. As these particles collided and clumped together, they built planetesimals, the building blocks of planets. Over time, gravity pulled these into larger masses, forming Earth. At its birth, Earth was a molten sphere, its surface constantly bombarded by meteorites. Volcanoes erupted without pause. The atmosphere was thick with carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and water vapor. Yet even in this early, inhospitable world, the essential ingredients for life were present. The water that now fills our oceans arrived in part from comets and asteroids, ancient icy bodies that carried the building blocks of chemistry across space. The carbon found in living beings was present in those same rocks. Phosphorus, nitrogen, and sulfur, all necessary for biology, came from the same planetary soup. As Earth cooled, the crust solidified. Oceans formed. Lightning, UV radiation, and deep-sea heat vents triggered chemical reactions among the atoms and molecules in this early environment. Simple compounds began to self-organize, giving rise to more complex molecules: amino acids, lipids, nucleotides. These formed the basis of what we now call the primordial soup, where early organic chemistry set the stage for the first living systems. These earliest forms of life were built from atoms that had traveled across billions of years of stellar and interstellar history. In this way, your molecular lineage stretches beyond time, from exploding stars to ancient oceans to you. It's hard to overstate just how profound this continuity is. The atoms in your fingernail were once in the molten rock of Earth's mantle. The iron in your blood might have existed in the core of a supernova and then inside a meteorite that collided with Earth before the continents had even formed. These atoms have traveled an unimaginable journey, shaped by planetary processes, tectonic activity, erosion, atmosphere formation, and biological evolution. Once life took hold on Earth, evolution began to sculpt increasingly complex organisms. From single-celled life to multicellular creatures, from fish to mammals to humans, the atoms within these forms continued their migrations. As one organism died, its matter became part of the soil, which then became part of the next generation. It's a process that has never stopped. You are not only descended biologically from earlier life, you are composed of matter that belonged to countless other organisms. In a very real sense, the atoms in your body have been part of forests, dinosaurs, insects, and whales. You are the latest chapter in a story written by the Earth. Earth itself is still changing. Mountains rise and fall. Oceans expand and contract. Continents drift. And through all of this, atoms are redistributed. A single raindrop might carry atoms that were once deep in volcanic rock. A gust of wind might contain nitrogen atoms that helped form early microbial life. Every part of the planet participates in the endless movement of atoms, and you are a part of that too. Even more remarkable is that Earth recycles matter not just horizontally, across its surface, but vertically, from the crust into the mantle and back again. Plate tectonics subduct oceanic plates into the Earth's interior, where heat and pressure transform the minerals, eventually bringing them back to the surface through volcanic activity. Atoms in the lava flowing from a volcano today may have been buried for hundreds of millions of years, only to re-emerge and join the surface world again. You might walk across rock that contains atoms from an earlier Earth, from a time before trees, before animals, even before oxygen filled the atmosphere. And this isn't just a planetary story, it's a solar system story. Earth is constantly bombarded with cosmic dust, tiny particles of matter from asteroids and comets that rain down from space. Each day, the planet accumulates about 100 tons of cosmic material, filled with stardust and interplanetary grains. These are atoms that never became part of any planet, floating through the solar system since its formation. Some of them now rest in soil, others are in water, and some, perhaps, have been absorbed into your body. Look at the calcium in your teeth. That calcium came from Earth's crust, but before that, it came from stars. The cycle of calcium in the Earth involves weathering of rocks, uptake by plants, movement through food chains, and eventual return to the soil. That same calcium can become part of sedimentary rock or return to the ocean, where it might become part of a coral reef. Eventually, tectonic forces might bury that reef, transforming it into marble, then push it to the surface again. Atoms are patient. Their transformations take place over millions, even billions of years. What's extraordinary is that while atoms follow the physical laws of chemistry and physics, life gives them new purpose. Life organizes atoms in highly specific ways. The difference between a living cell and a handful of molecules is not the type of atoms involved, but how they're arranged. Life is order in motion. It takes scattered atoms and binds them into proteins, membranes, and enzymes. It builds tissues, organs, bodies. Then it lets go, releasing the atoms to the environment, where they begin their next phase. Your body is a complex arrangement of about 60 different elements, but more than 99% of it is made of just 6: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Each plays a vital role. Oxygen is part of water and is needed for respiration. Carbon forms the backbone of all organic molecules. Hydrogen provides structure to water and energy molecules. Nitrogen is found in amino acids and nucleic acids. Calcium builds bones and enables cellular communication. Phosphorus is essential to DNA and energy metabolism. These elements are not unique to humans. They are the same in all known life forms. They are Earth's gift to biology, passed through generations of organisms and now living within you. But again, this gift came from the stars. Without supernovae, there would be no calcium, no phosphorus, no iron. And without Earth's ability to collect and recycle these elements, life could not persist. The Earth is not just a rock floating in space, it's an active participant in the cosmic story of matter. It receives atoms from space, it rearranges them, it supports their transformation through life, then it sends some back into space again, via volcanic eruptions, erosion into the atmosphere, and human activity. The cycle of atoms is planetary and cosmic at once. It's also deeply personal. Your body contains trillions of cells, and each one is a small universe of chemical activity. Inside every cell, atoms are constantly in motion, moving across membranes, binding to enzymes, participating in reactions. Your heart beats because of calcium ions moving in and out of cells. Your muscles contract because of shifts in sodium and potassium. Your thoughts emerge from complex networks of neurons firing signals via neurotransmitters, themselves constructed from ancient atoms. Even sleep, dreams, and imagination are enabled by the orchestration of particles born in ancient stars. This journey doesn't end when you exhale your last breath. Your body will return to Earth. Whether by burial, cremation, or decomposition, your atoms will be released. Some will become part of the soil, others will rise into the air. Some will wash into rivers, drift into oceans, or be absorbed by roots. And over time, they'll be passed on. The carbon in your bones may one day form the stem of a flower. The nitrogen in your muscles may become part of a bird's feathers. The phosphorus in your brain may one day help power the thoughts of another creature, centuries or millennia from now. You are not isolated. You are woven into the history of Earth and the broader cosmos. And the story of your atoms is not over. It will continue long after your consciousness fades. Scattered, yes, but not lost. Recycled. Reclaimed. Remembered by the planet itself. The atoms that make you are not only ancient and cosmic, they are shared. Not in a metaphorical sense, but literally. Right now, you are breathing in atoms that have passed through other people, other creatures, even other civilizations. With every inhale and exhale, you are participating in an ongoing exchange of matter with the entire living world, present and past. The air around you holds molecules that have been in the lungs of others, carried across oceans, and lifted into the upper atmosphere. These atoms do not belong to anyone. They are part of the communal breath of Earth. Consider this. The nitrogen you just inhaled may once have been part of a leaf on a tree that grew 200 years ago. The oxygen may have been released by a coral reef. The water vapor in your lungs may have evaporated from a river in ancient Mesopotamia, and the carbon dioxide you exhale may someday be absorbed by a seedling that will grow into a tree, incorporating your atoms into its trunk and leaves. This process is called the biogeochemical cycle, and it applies to every atom on Earth. You are part of the ongoing transformation and movement of matter through air, water, soil, and life. And these exchanges aren't just about the environment. They are about people, your ancestors, your community, strangers you'll never meet. Every human being who has ever lived was made of atoms that now circulate in the Earth's systems. The carbon from their bodies, the calcium from their bones, the hydrogen from their cells. All of it has returned to the planet, and all of it is being reused. The atoms that once were part of ancient kings and queens, farmers and philosophers, children and explorers, they're still here. They're in the soil, the ocean, the food chain. Some of them are in you. This means that the boundaries we draw between people, between generations, between nations, are not chemically real. They are abstractions. Your atoms don't care about borders or timelines. They flow freely. They have been part of many lives. They will be part of many more. In this way, you are connected to all who have lived, not just biologically through ancestry and evolution, but chemically through the sharing of elemental matter. And this interconnectedness isn't only in the air or the soil. It exists in water too. The Earth's water cycle, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and flow, ensures that water molecules are constantly moving between the oceans, the atmosphere, the land, and living beings. A molecule of water in your body today may have once been in a cloud over the Himalayas, in a glacier in the Arctic, or in the bloodstream of a mammoth. The hydrogen in water is among the oldest atoms in the universe, dating back to the Big Bang itself. It has never been destroyed, only rearranged. That means the water in your cells is older than Earth, older than the Sun, older than any life form. It is primordial, and it still moves. The same water molecules are broken apart during digestion and reassembled into new compounds. They move through your blood, nourish your brain, help regulate your temperature, and allow your body to function. And eventually, they return to the world through sweat, breath, tears, or time. Even your breath, something so automatic, so quiet, is a bridge between you and everything else. When you breathe out, you release carbon dioxide that may nourish plants miles away. You are sending atoms into the environment every second and taking new ones in. If you sit with this idea for a moment, it changes how you perceive yourself. You begin to realize that you are not self-contained. You are porous. You are exchanging pieces of yourself with the world around you all the time. Think about the carbon cycle. Plants absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, turning it into sugars and oxygen. You consume those sugars by eating plants or animals that ate plants. Your body breaks the sugars down, releasing energy and carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide returns to the air, and the cycle continues. You are part of that loop. You are part of the metabolism of the planet. Your breath is a form of participation, a dialogue with life, and it goes deeper. The food you eat becomes part of your body. The carbon in your cells was once in another organism, perhaps a fish, or a fruit, or a grain of wheat grown under a sunlit sky. The atoms that now hold your memories and fuel your thoughts once belonged to something else. They were part of another being's experience. Now they are part of yours. This overlap of atomic histories means that memory itself, your capacity to reflect, to remember, to feel, is built on the bones of stars and the bodies of others. Your neurons communicate through synapses where neurotransmitters carry messages, where ions flow, where atoms move. Memory is not intangible. It is a function of matter. Your emotions, thoughts, and dreams are not separate from the material world. They are built from it. You may feel like a single person moving through time alone, but from a material standpoint, you are a node in a network. The same atoms flow through all of us. They do not end when a body dies. They are simply redistributed. When a loved one passes, their body returns to the earth. Their atoms begin a new journey, perhaps into a tree or the ocean or a bird, perhaps into a new human life. They are not gone. They are transformed. And someday the same will happen to you. And in this way, death is not an erasure. It's a redistribution. It's a re-entry into the planet's atomic conversation. It's the end of one configuration and the beginning of many more. You will not cease to exist. You will simply stop being a particular pattern. But your atoms will continue, perhaps forever, in forms you cannot imagine. Some may stay on Earth, some may leave it. Some may travel far beyond the solar system, riding comets, or caught in stellar winds. This idea is more than comfort. It is supported by the laws of thermodynamics and chemistry. Matter is not created or destroyed. It is conserved. Energy, too, is never lost, only transferred or transformed. Your body is a container for energy and atoms, assembled for a brief time in a particular way. And when that arrangement ends, the pieces remain. They scatter, they rejoin the world. And the remarkable part is that every piece of you, every atom, follows predictable, natural patterns. There is no waste in the grand system. Every death feeds new life. Every decomposition becomes new composition. Nature is efficient, it reuses everything. It has done so for billions of years, and it will continue for billions more. So as you sit here now, listening, breathing, maybe feeling the rhythm of your own heart, know that you are not just a person. You are a brief configuration of very old matter. Matter that was once part of stars, then part of Earth, then part of life. Matter that will someday be part of many other things. You are a moment in a story that stretches back to the beginning of time and forward into every future. You are made of memory, history, and potential. You are part of a planetary body that breathes, moves, evolves. You are an extension of Earth, and Earth is an extension of the cosmos. The atoms that make up your body don't belong to you. They belong to the universe. You are borrowing them for now, and one day you'll return them so they can go on and become something else. And that's a kind of immortality, not in consciousness, but in contribution. You will not vanish, you will disperse. Your matter will touch new life, new soil, new skies. You will be remembered not in stories alone, but in atoms, in the very particles that once were you, now scattered among stars. Time, for atoms, is not measured in years, but in eons. The particles that now form your body have existed for billions of years. They have no memory, no sense of self, yet they are the carriers of everything that has ever been. In their quiet persistence, they are witnesses, and you are their current form, their temporary gathering, their momentary expression. You are a brief episode in the life of very old matter. Think about the atoms in your hand. They were forged in stars that lived and died long before Earth was even formed. Those stars collapsed under their own gravity, exploded in supernovae, and scattered their elements into space. Those elements floated across the galaxy for untold ages, eventually drawn by gravity into the swirling disk that became our solar system. From that dust came the Earth, and from the Earth, life, and from life, you. This chain is not poetic metaphor. It is the story told by astrophysics, planetary science, and biology. The calcium in your bones came from a star. So did the iron in your blood, the potassium in your nerves, the sulfur in your skin. These elements are not native to Earth. They were born in stellar cores and cast into space by stellar death. You are, in the most literal sense, a stellar construct. But the story doesn't stop at your formation. It continues into the future. When your life ends, the atoms that made your body will not cease to exist. They will begin a new cycle. Some may remain in the biosphere. Others may join geological processes. Some may find their way into rivers, clouds, or the breath of animals. Some may leave the planet altogether. Over millions of years, the Earth itself will change, and your atoms with it. Imagine one of your carbon atoms, a tiny piece of you. After your death, it enters the soil. A tree grows nearby, and the carbon is absorbed into its roots, travels up into a leaf, and becomes part of a sugar molecule. A caterpillar eats the leaf. A bird eats the caterpillar. A gust of wind carries the bird to another land. The bird dies, and its body becomes part of a mountain over millennia. That carbon atom may sit locked in stone for eons before a volcano erupts and sends it back into the atmosphere. Eventually, that same atom might find itself on a different world, perhaps in the far future, long after the sun has died. If life still exists, then it may be part of another body, another being, another mind. And it will have carried part of you with it, not your identity, but your presence. Your existence echoes in its path. You become part of a chain that never ends. This is what it means to be made of atoms. Your story doesn't begin with birth and end with death. It begins with the birth of matter itself. In the first few minutes after the Big Bang, when hydrogen and helium first formed, then, through nuclear fusion in stars, heavier elements emerged. These elements, forged in thermonuclear fire, are the only reason your body can exist. Without them, there would be no bones, no muscles, no thoughts. And so even though your life is fleeting, you are participating in something vast. The universe is not static, it evolves. Matter rearranges itself constantly, and your existence is one of those arrangements. Brief, yes, but not insignificant. You are a moment in the universe's self-expression, a pause in the motion of particles, a temporary coherence in the great unfolding of time. Every part of you reflects this. The phosphorus in your DNA is a relic of early Earth. The oxygen in your lungs is part of a planetary scale exchange system. The sodium and potassium in your neurons come from mineral cycles that began in the ocean hundreds of millions of years ago. You are a collection of moving atoms. Atoms with history, atoms with futures. And time flows differently for them. At the scale of atoms, there is no clock ticking. They move according to probability, energy, and laws of physics that are not bound by human calendars. Some atoms in your body will remain unchanged for billions of years. Others are constantly shifting, gaining or losing electrons, forming and breaking bonds, reacting and resting. But all are enduring, and their journey is not over. This reshapes how you might think of your own timeline. You are used to marking years, birth, milestones, aging. But your atoms do not count in years. They have been here long before you existed, and they will remain long after. Your lifetime is their passing phase. They have belonged to oceans, trees, animals, air. They will belong to many more things. You are not the owner of these atoms. You are their steward, their host, their momentary shelter. And when you return them, you contribute to the future, not in legacy, but in substance. The very stuff of you will go on. It will touch future worlds. It may drift in the atmosphere, sink to the seafloor, rise again through volcanic activity, or travel in space dust caught in solar winds. You are part of the material future of the universe. You help build what comes next. Even at this moment, your body is shedding atoms. Skin cells flake off. Water evaporates from your breath. Carbon dioxide leaves your lungs. Tiny molecules escape into the air. You are dissolving gently back into the world, and the world accepts you. It takes your atoms and moves them along. Some become part of other lives. Some remain in the environment. You are not ending, you are distributing. This constant motion is the rhythm of matter. Nothing stays still. Nothing is lost. Everything is changing form. And this means that every human life is not a closed loop, but a node in a vast network of transformation. Your life, your death, your presence. All of it contributes to the shape of the universe. You are part of how the cosmos learns to rearrange itself. You are a phase in the dance of particles. This perspective doesn't require belief. It's supported by science. Atomic theory, nuclear physics, cosmology, geology, and biology all point to the same truth. Matter is eternal. Identity is transient. The you who listens now is a fleeting organization of very old pieces. But the pieces persist. And in that persistence, something beautiful happens. A kind of immortality, not of soul, but of structure. Not of memory, but of movement. If you could follow every atom in your body after death, you would see them cross borders, enter new organisms, fuel growth, form new substances. You would see them become part of rain, dust, food, clouds. You would see them as stardust once again, rising from Earth into space, carried by comets or solar particles. You would be scattered, not lost, but spread, not destroyed, but transformed. And one day, perhaps far in the future, those atoms may reassemble into something conscious. Not you, but something else, built from the same materials. This possibility is not science fiction. It is the natural extension of material continuity. Life arises from atoms. Life continues to arise. And the building blocks of life are recycled endlessly. You were built from recycled atoms. So will the next life be. Your place in time is temporary, but your influence is eternal in form. Not because you are remembered, but because you were made of something that cannot be destroyed. The universe has no waste. It reuses everything, including you, especially you. You are not just in time, you are made of time, of particles shaped by it, moved by it, and carried forward through it. You are a ripple in the vast stream of existence, a configuration that will never come again. But the ingredients, the atoms, the particles, the energy, they remain. They scatter, they continue, and in doing so, they carry the imprint of your brief, beautiful presence. At first glance, the universe may seem chaotic, stars exploding, planets colliding, organisms dying. But underneath that chaos is a profound order, guided by natural laws that ensure nothing is ever truly wasted. At the heart of this process lies the principle of entropy, the idea that all systems tend toward disorder. It might sound unsettling, but in fact, entropy is the mechanism that drives evolution, change, and cosmic recycling. When a system increases in entropy, it moves from a state of order to one of greater randomness. A glass shattering is a classic example. It's easy to break the glass, but nearly impossible to make it whole again. Yet, while the form is lost, the material remains. The atoms that made up the glass are still there, just scattered in a different configuration. And eventually, they will find new arrangements, new purposes. Your body too follows this pattern. As you age, entropy increases. Cells break down, structures lose cohesion. After death, decomposition accelerates the process. Tissues decay, organs dissolve, molecules separate. It may seem like an end, but it is only a transformation. Because even in decay, atoms are conserved. They move from body to earth, from flesh to fungus, from organism to ecosystem. This is where nature's brilliance shines. Every molecule your body releases becomes nourishment for something else. Nitrogen returns to the soil and helps grow plants. Calcium becomes part of bones in other animals. Carbon is absorbed by microbes or stored in the earth. Even your water content, hydrogen and oxygen, joins clouds, rain, rivers, and breathes new life into the cycle. Your atoms find new homes again and again. Entropy is not destruction, it's redistribution. It is how the universe avoids stagnation. It takes existing materials and shakes them loose, allowing them to form new patterns. And that's exactly what happened before you were born. The entropy of dying stars created the loose particles that formed the Earth. The entropy of volcanic eruptions spread minerals across the surface. The entropy of ancient forests turned them into coal, which powered the industries that shaped our world. You are part of a universe that depends on change. Static systems die. Dynamic systems adapt. Entropy ensures that no form, no arrangement, no identity lasts forever, but it also ensures that no material is ever lost. Energy and matter continue their dance, reshaping, rebuilding, redistributing. What appears as destruction is simply the precursor to creation. So when your body finally breaks down, when entropy completes its work, your atoms won't vanish. They'll become part of this ever-evolving system. They'll be recycled into other forms. The matter that was once you might nourish the roots of a tree, help a mushroom bloom, drift into the sky as vapor, or sink into ancient rock beds. That tree might provide shelter for animals, release oxygen into the air, or fall and return its nutrients to the soil, and so your atoms will journey again. This is the cycle we are all part of, from stardust to organism to Earth again. It's not a closed loop, but an expanding spiral. Atoms never return to their exact same configuration. They move outward into new contexts, new uses. They evolve, and in doing so, they carry echoes of their previous forms. Your body is already made of such echoes, atoms that were once part of other humans, other animals, other landscapes. You are a mosaic of recycled materials. The water in your bloodstream may have once flowed through the Amazon River. The nitrogen in your DNA may have passed through the roots of a fern in prehistoric times. The calcium in your bones may have helped build the exoskeleton of a trilobite. There is no telling how far back your atoms go. Their lineage is older than history, older than the Earth itself. This kind of continuity changes how we understand mortality. Death does not erase us, it reorganizes us. It returns us to the shared reservoir of existence, the vast, ever-moving collection of particles that make up all things. In this way, you are part of a grand, unbroken chain. You came from the universe, and to the universe you return. There is no separation, only rearrangement. Even now, you are shedding atoms constantly. Through breath, sweat, skin, and hair, tiny particles are released from your body every moment. Some will drift into other humans. Some will become part of the air, the water, or the soil. You are never static. You are continuously contributing to the world around you. Even before you die, your presence is not just symbolic, it's physical. You are quite literally leaving pieces of yourself everywhere. And those pieces may be tiny, but they matter. The particles you exhale become part of the air that others breathe. The cells you shed become food for microbes. The minerals you carry might end up in the bloodstream of an animal or the bark of a tree. Your body is not a closed vessel. It is porous, open, and in constant exchange with the environment. You are always in motion, always giving back. This flow is what keeps ecosystems alive. Nothing is created or destroyed, only passed along. The carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the water cycle, all depend on this transfer. You are part of all the three. When you eat, drink, breathe, and move, you engage in a planetary scale process of sharing matter. When you die, that sharing becomes even more complete. You return everything, and yet in this return, you gain something. You become part of a system much larger than yourself. Your atoms no longer serve only you. They serve the planet. They serve the next generation. They serve the future. This is not a metaphor, it's a literal truth of biology and physics. When your body breaks down, its contents become available to the entire ecosystem. You nourish what comes next. The laws of thermodynamics tell us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. The same is true of matter. You are made of particles that were once in stars, and one day they will be in other people, other planets, other stars. That continuity is a kind of immortality, not of self, but of substance. You are eternal, not because you are remembered, but because your atoms remain. And those atoms are not anonymous. They are shaped by experience. While they were part of your body, They carried out chemical reactions, supported thoughts, allowed emotions, fueled actions. In a way, they were imprinted by you. Your consciousness may not remain, but your structure leaves a mark. The arrangement fades, but the building blocks endure. In this light, entropy becomes beautiful. It is the reason we grow, change, and evolve. It is the reason you exist at all. Without entropy, the universe would be static, frozen, sterile. But with entropy, everything flows. Life emerges. Death recycles. The past becomes the future. And you are part of that flow. To understand yourself as atoms is to see the world differently. It strips away the illusion of permanence, but replaces it with a deeper truth, that you are part of something immense. You are the temporary gathering of ancient particles, dancing briefly in the form we call you, before continuing on to the next form, and the next, and the next. The atoms that were you are not gone. They are everywhere. They are eternal. They are home. When we talk about the atoms that make up your body, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron, we often picture them returning quietly to the earth, into the soil, the water, or the air. But their journey doesn't necessarily end on this planet. Given the right conditions, some of those atoms might leave Earth entirely. They could become part of the atmosphere, join the upper atmosphere's circulation, or be carried away by solar wind or meteor impacts. From there, they may enter the vast theatre of space, becoming cosmic travellers once more. This isn't just poetic speculation, it's a physical possibility. Throughout history, Earth has continuously exchanged material with space. Meteoroids bring in cosmic dust. Volcanic eruptions have flung gases into the upper atmosphere that eventually escaped Earth's gravity. Even tiny particles shed from the surface, atoms and molecules stripped by ultraviolet light, or charged particles from the sun, drift into space. If the atoms in your body are released into the biosphere via decomposition, cremation, or long-term erosion, there is a small but real chance that some of them may ride wind currents, climb into the stratosphere, or hitch a ride on airborne dust. Some will fall back to Earth. Others may float for years, orbiting in the upper layers of the atmosphere. A few might even escape entirely, carried beyond Earth's gravity into the solar system. At that point, those atoms become interplanetary. They are no longer part of Earth's ecosystem. They drift freely, occasionally colliding with particles from the solar wind, sometimes joining icy comets or space dust. Some may find their way to the moon, settling on its surface. Others may end up pulled into the gravitational well of Mars, Jupiter, or Venus. Over time, some could be drawn into the heart of asteroids, absorbed into meteorites, or even delivered to entirely different celestial bodies. Cosmic matter migrates in all directions. Scientists have found fragments of Mars on Earth, meteorites that were blasted off its surface by ancient impacts. Likewise, Earth-origin material has likely made its way to other worlds. When we send rovers, satellites, or space probes into the solar system, they often carry microscopic traces of Earth, human skin cells, bacterial spores, trace gases. We are, in small but tangible ways, seeding the cosmos with our material presence. This becomes even more interesting when you realize that the atoms that made you are the same ones that make up planets, moons, asteroids, and stars. You're not made of anything rare. In fact, the universe uses a relatively small set of ingredients to build everything. It just arranges them in different combinations. The hydrogen in your body is also in the sun. The iron in your blood is abundant in the core of Mars. The carbon in your cells could one day be part of a new life form on a distant planet. Over long enough timescales, and with enough random events, collisions, explosions, and migrations, Your atoms may join the raw material of new worlds. A speck of calcium from your bones might be pressed into the sediment of an exoplanet. A bit of phosphorus from your brain may end up in the ocean of a distant moon. A single nitrogen atom from your DNA might become part of a plant-like structure on another biosphere, if life arises again somewhere else. It's not science fiction, it's the reality of cosmic time. The universe operates over billions of years. Stars live and die. Planets form and dissolve. Matter is redistributed constantly. The dust that once formed Earth came from ancient stars, perhaps even from other galaxies. And Earth's own matter will eventually be scattered again. Whether through the expanding sun in several billion years, asteroid impacts, or human activity like space travel. Earth is not a closed system. It is part of a grand exchange. Even now, Earth is moving through a cloud of interstellar dust. Some of that dust enters our atmosphere. It collects on mountaintops, in the ocean, and in your lungs. So in a way, parts of you are already mixed with material from beyond the solar system. You are not only of this planet. You are part of a galactic circulation, a drifting, swirling system that defies national borders, human lifespans, or any single identity. And because of this, the line between you and the cosmos dissolves. What happens to your atoms is not separate from what happens to stars, comets, or galaxies. You're in the same system, you obey the same laws. The matter that was once conscious inside your body might one day be buried deep within the icy crust of Europa, or float silently through the Oort cloud, or become part of the molten core of a planet yet to be born. This isn't just inspiring, it's grounding. It means that even though your individual form is temporary, your presence is lasting. You participate in a cycle far greater than any civilization or species. You're made of the same materials as nebulae, moons, and black holes. And just as those structures evolve, decay, and transform, so will you. The future of your atoms might involve extreme transformations. They could be subjected to temperatures of millions of degrees in a star's core. They might be locked in ice for eons, or compressed under layers of rock, invisible for thousands of years before resurfacing. No matter the path, their continuity is certain. They do not vanish, they persist. And that persistence gives rise to new possibilities. If someday life arises on a distant planet using atoms that once passed through Earth, atoms that were once part of a human, or a tree, or an ocean, then you are part of that genesis. The carbon you once used to speak and think might one day enable another being to do the same. In that way, you live on not just in matter, but in function, in what your atoms are able to do next. There is something deeply humbling about this view. It reframes life and death. You are not a singular event, isolated in time. You are a stage in the journey of matter. You are a temporary arrangement of universal ingredients. Here briefly, aware for a moment, and then return to the mix. That awareness itself, your thoughts, emotions, dreams, emerged from atoms. And when those atoms continue on, they carry the residue of that awareness, however faint, into the future. Nothing is truly lost. Even memory, while not preserved in its original form, leaves an echo. You affected the world in ways large and small, and those effects are encoded in molecules, systems, and structures. The energy you used, the heat you gave off, the carbon you exhaled, all of it remains. Transformed, yes, but not erased. In this view, your life becomes part of a much longer narrative, one that began with the Big Bang and will continue long after Earth is gone. You are not outside that story. You are a paragraph within it, and your atoms are the words that will be rewritten into the next chapter. The stars that gave you birth are not done. They continue to shape worlds, to die and be reborn. And your atoms will return to them, slowly, subtly, but inevitably. One day, far in the future, the atoms that once pulsed through your heart may burn in a star again. Not because you are special, but because that is the nature of matter. To return, to recycle, to radiate. To understand that the atoms in your body were once part of distant stars is to recognize something fundamental about your place in the universe. It dissolves the artificial boundary between self and other, between you and the cosmos. You are not separate, you are woven from the same fabric as galaxies, nebulae, and the spaces between stars. Science reveals that every element heavier than hydrogen and helium was forged inside stars, in the intense heat and pressure of nuclear fusion. These stars lived out their lives over millions or billions of years before dying in spectacular supernova explosions, scattering their enriched material across the galaxy. Those scattered atoms drifted through space until gravity pulled them into new stars, planets, and eventually life itself. Your body is a direct descendant of this cosmic process. The oxygen you breathe, the carbon backbone of your DNA, the iron in your blood, all were once part of stellar furnaces. This means your physical self is a living archive of the universe's history. Each breath you take is an exchange with the cosmos. Each heartbeat echoes ancient forces that shaped matter and life. This connection offers a powerful perspective on identity. We often think of ourselves as isolated individuals, but at the atomic level, we are participants in an ongoing, shared journey. The atoms that compose you have passed through countless other beings, places, and times. They connect you to every living organism that has ever existed, and to the very earth beneath your feet. Understanding this changes how we see life and death. Rather than endings, they become transitions, transformations in the endless cycle of matter and energy. Your atoms are not lost when your body ceases to function. They return to the earth and sky, becoming part of new forms, new lives, new stories. This continuity suggests a kind of unity underlying apparent diversity. The same particles that build you also build the plants in a forest, the creatures in the sea, and the distant stars twinkling above. This unity transcends cultures, borders, and time. It is a reminder that all life shares a common origin, and that our connection to the universe is intimate and literal. Moreover, the cosmos is not a distant backdrop, but an active participant in life. The cycles of star birth and death create the elements essential to biology. The Earth recycles these elements through geology and ecology, enabling complex systems to flourish. And within this system, you emerge, a complex organization of atoms reflecting the universe's creative power. This knowledge can deepen appreciation and responsibility. Realizing that you are made of star stuff encourages care for the planet that hosts this matter, and for the living beings who share it. It fosters a sense of belonging to something vast and beautiful, a universe in constant motion and renewal. Your existence is both fleeting and eternal. Fleeting because the specific arrangement of your atoms will change. Eternal because the atoms themselves persist and journey onward. They continue to participate in the cosmic dance, forming new stars, new planets, new life. As we return to the idea of sleep, it becomes clear how deeply it mirrors the cycles of matter and energy in the universe. Just as your atoms are part of endless transformations, your body and mind engage in daily rhythms of renewal and restoration. Sleep is the pause in your personal cycle, a time when your body repairs cells, clears waste, and rebalances the chemistry that sustains life. During sleep, Your brain consolidates memories, clears toxins, and strengthens neural connections. This nightly process is a reminder that your existence is a continuous flow, a dynamic exchange between stability and change. Your atoms don't rest, they keep moving, shifting, transforming, even as your consciousness fades into quiet. In this way, sleep is a microcosm of the cosmic cycles we've explored. Just as stars recycle matter across billions of years, your body recycles energy and matter every night. The breath that slows, the heart that rests, the mind that dreams, all are part of the dance of matter and energy that sustains you. Understanding this can deepen your experience of rest. When you prepare to sleep, remember that you are participating in a grand tradition of renewal. Your body is dissolving and reforming itself day after day, night after night. You are a temporary assembly of ancient atoms, resting briefly before continuing their journey. So as you close your eyes, allow yourself to feel connected to the earth, to the stars, to the infinite cycle of transformation that surrounds and includes you. Your atoms will scatter, regroup, and renew. And with sleep, you enter your own cosmic rhythm of rest and rebirth. Thank you for joining me tonight on Sleep Space to explore this fascinating truth. The atoms that were you are now scattered among stars. I hope this reflection brings you peace, wonder, and a deeper connection to the universe within and around you. Wherever you are and whatever time it is, may your rest be deep and your dreams expansive. Good night.